So, dear children, today we are starting with Module 2 of our Chapter 11 Fueling Our Life. Objective. At the end of the session, you will be able to understand about fuel for transportation, pollution caused by burning of fuels. Let's move. Fuel for transport. Now we have plenty of motor vehicles on the road. We use them as conveyance of passengers and goods. We use them for service purposes, rescue operations, and for other activities. Have you ever thought of a time when there was no such transport facility? Common men walked kilometers from one place to another. They carried goods as head loads. Kings and landlords travelled in palanquins carried by bearers on their shoulders. Look at the picture given here of the palanquin. Now palanquins have become part of history. Have you heard about pyramids of Egypt? Large blocks of rocks were used to make it, and it was carried by slaves and animals. If we were making these pyramids now, what would be the mode of transport? Yes, we may be using the JCBs or cranes, isn't it? At earlier times, camels, donkeys, horses, etc. were used to carry goods. Later on, after the invention of wheel, bullock carts, horse carts, cycle rickshaw, etc. were used for transportation. Even now, sledges pulled by animals are used in snowy places. Means of transport in water. At earlier, using wind and manpower, huge sail ships and water boats were used by man. Nowadays, we have motorized them. Fuels in action. Look at the pictures given here. Both of them are familiar to you, isn't it? What's the difference between them? Yes, cycle doesn't need any fuel. We are using our manpower. But a motorbike, it needs a fuel, isn't it? So, how does the bicycle move? Yes, with the manpower. How does a motorcycle move? Yes, with the energy from the fuels. Invention of fossil fuels helped us to develop various types of vehicles. These fuels are used in engines to deliver energy to run machineries. In general, energy released by burning fuels is used in automotive vehicles and machineries. So, dear children, after the invention of fossil fuels, our transportation became easy. How the fuels help the vehicles move? When fuels are burned, energy is released. This energy is utilized to create powerful motions in machines called engines. This motion is controlled and passed on to the wheels of the vehicle. Thus, they move. Can you identify what type of train is this? Yes, you are correct. Steam engine train. This was the oldest train and it had an external combustion engine. So what do you mean by this external combustion engine? In a steam engine, fuel is burned outside to convert water to steam. This steam is directed so as to do the work. Such engines are called external combustion engine. So, in an external combustion engine, the fuel will be burned outside the vehicle. Okay. The combustion of fuel is done outside the engine. Coal is the fuel used to heat water in this type of engines. So this was the first engine, steam engine. Diesel engine train. Internal combustion engine. It has an internal combustion engine. So what will be the internal combustion engine? Here fuels are burned internally, that is inside the engine. The energy is used to move the vehicles, and most of the vehicles that we use nowadays have internal combustion engine. So if the fuel is burned outside the engine, we will call it external combustion engine. For an example is steam engine train. And if the fuel is burned inside the engine, we will call internal combustion engine. Example, almost all the vehicles we use nowadays, or diesel engine train. Then we know we get energy by burning the fuels, but it causes pollution also. Pollution caused by burning of fuels. Burning of any fuel emits smoke. It consists of different types of gases, vapors, and dust. These contaminate land, air, and water. This leads to illness of lungs, damage to plants, and many other problems. So, dear children, burning of fuels causes air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution also. So that's all for today. Before winding up, let us look into the HOTS column in our textbook, Story of Steam Engines. The first steam-powered machine was built by Thomas Savery and improved by Thomas Newcomen. A Scottish engineer, James Watt, by 1769 refined the design of the steam engine. His engine used 1/3 less fuel than a comparable Newcomen engine. He continuously modified the designs. Thus, steam engines were used in industries, reducing the need of manpower considerably. Watt's steam engine speeded up the Industrial Revolution in Europe. Automobiles, powerboats, and railways ran on steam engines. Steam engines used coal as fuel for producing steam. So you might have heard steam engine was developed by James Watt. So that's all for today. And the follow-up activity for today is collect paper cuttings to show programs of various states to reduce fossil fuel consumption and pollution. Collect the news from the newspapers and let us discuss it in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.